Welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast, a slice of joy and healing with your host, Dr. Altreisha Foster. This is a heartwarming and uplifting space that celebrates the transformative power of baking therapy. The conversations will be a delightful blend of inspirational stories, expert insights, and practical baking tips. Each episode will take listeners on a journey of self-discovery, emotional healing, and connection through the therapeutic art of baking. There's something here for everyone, so lock in and let's get into it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Cake Therapy Podcast with me, your host, Dr. Altreisha Foster. So I'm always excited, right? I'm looking forward to this conversation today with Adrianna, Miss Adrianna Willis from Mind the Crown. Mind the Crown is an organization out of Minnesota that focuses on mindfulness and how to care for oneself and how to protect one's space. So Adrianna, she's the CEO of this organization, and she's truly inspiring. She's an inspiring person. Like I mentioned, she's the founder of Mind the Crown, and her journey is really a powerful testament of transformation and empowerment. You see, in 2020, amidst the pandemic and the social isolation, heightened racial tensions within Minnesota itself, his was taken here in Minnesota. George Floyd life was taken here in Minnesota. Adrianna founded Mind the Crown. She wanted to uplift and reconnect women, especially from the Black and Brown communities, through mental wellness, self-care, etc. So her own experience of burnout, I believe, after nearly 30 years in corporate, highlighted that crucial need to her. And she wanted to make others feel good in this space, and she formed Mind the Crown. This led her to completely dedicating herself to this business since 2024. How brave is it to be in corporate for 30 years, formed an organization, and then just give everything up, your corporate life up, and then just focus on that fully. I myself, I'm in that transition, just walking away from all the side stuff. It's hard, but your peace of mind matters more. So kudos to Adrianna for having I use this word a lot, the audacity to step away after 30 years to begin this new journey of purpose. She's set to talk about her coaching services that start in January of 2025. And she's committed to guiding women everywhere. So welcome, Adrianna, to the show. So Miss Adrianna from Mind the Crown, welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast.
Thank you. I feel so appreciative of you giving me this time.
Of course, we have to create spaces and tables for each other to join and have conversation. I'm fascinated about your organization, so I've been looking forward to talking to you about it and to have some of our listeners who are mostly female learn about what you're doing, your purpose work here. Because at the top of the in our introduction, we talked about you leaving what you've done for 30 years to invest in this completely. So I'm excited to dive in. So here at Cake Therapy, we are all about mental health and people's well-being. So we tend to do like a mental health check-in. How's the week been? How are you doing?
One of the things I had to do, because I'm going to tell you, when I quit that job, I was like, who quit? Because I didn't think that was coming out of my mouth. But I had no clue of what these last couple of months were going to really foretell for me. And I'm going to say this week has been a good week because I had to make that decision. Even if life was lifing, look at the silver lining and just say gratitude, because that is the only way to get through when life is lifing.
Yes, absolutely. For me, it's glooming, but gloomy outside, but we're both in Minnesota, for all our listeners. But I've been having a great week too. And I was sharing with my listeners earlier that you and I are on such a similar path that you did it before me, because I'm in the corporate world. I'm like balancing these two things, but I'm slowly transitioning because I have these young kids at home that needs their mom. But then, what is it worth if I can't raise them? Have them and can't raise them. So I'm slowly transitioning into this purpose-filled space. So even though the podcast is called Cake Therapy, our overarching mission really is to highlight wellness, whatever forms it's showing up in our communities, and to really try and create the platforms for these conversations. So I personally have been keeping up with your work. I have seen you doing your workshops. And, before we dive into all of this, I want to say I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what you're doing and what you stand in. And I really want to salute you and your organization for that. But what inspired you to start Mind the Crown, and what is it? How did the social climate of 2020 influence this founding?
Oh my gosh. So in 2020, let me just take you back. And you just said we're in Minnesota. And so I talk with my hands. I'm from the East Coast, everybody. Okay. And
where from the East Coast are you? Where are you
I'm from New Jersey. Exit 9, where Rutgers College is, right?
Okay.
But
I'm on the East Coast.
Wait a minute, what part?
Washington, D.C. I'm a D.C. girl. I'm a Harvard grad.
You don't have it. Yeah. No. Okay, I'll let you have it. If you're not on the turnpike.
Oh, it's okay.
But think about this. George Floyd was murdered about 20 minutes away from where I live. The climate that we were in, that we were being called everything but the child of God, including our kids. And then we were having all these murders that were happening with our young men. And, also we had COVID and we couldn't kiki with our girlfriends. We couldn't get out. We had to look at the people that was living with us in their whole face all the time. That's why liquor stores were open. When the highlight was getting toilet paper at Walmart. Yeah. And, it was because of all of that made me come up with Mind the Crown, because I was like, we need to know that we are special, that we can do anything that puts our mind to it. And Mind the Crown before was like a Target. I had something for everybody, men, women, and children. But then I evolved, because women were buying stuff, but they weren't buying anything for themselves. And I know for me, I always got that superwoman cape. And when I'm a martyr, I love being a martyr, but I hate being a martyr, right? And then I was like, no. I'm going to change this. And I'm going to change it to women treating themselves and not cheating themselves. So in 2023-ish, I rebranded, relaunched, and said, my focus is on women, and it's for self-care, because I'm around all these women that I work with in corporate America. They're getting cancer. Yes. Some of them have died from cancer. And then Black and brown women, we're struggling with being soft. So now when we get 55, 60, we would love to have somebody to spend time with us. But we were such a strong Black woman, brown woman, and we couldn't release in order to be able to be in a meaningful relationship. And those are the conversations I've been having with my mom, that's in her 70s, but look like she's in her 60s. So that is really how Mind the Crown came about.
When you speak of Mind the Crown in such a way that it's community focused, why? Because share with us,
because I'm talking to myself, right? So I didn't start coming into my own until I turned 50, because I didn't think I was worthy of the self-care. And so I would do for everybody else. And I thought to validate me, I needed to be in a relationship. So I was making all these wrong choices without interventions, that I had to get to the point where I need a community to be there for us. And Black and brown people, we're used to being in communities. And even when I have my self-care events, I still feel like that's a community. I'm going to have a baker there. I'm going to have a caterer there. And I may partner with somebody else. I believe in having Black-owned and women-owned businesses at the table, even if we sell the same thing. It doesn't matter, because we all can eat. But that community I need to feed me. And so hopefully I'm feeding them as well.
So the name Mind the Crown, where did you get it? What does it signify in terms of your mission, your overall mission?
So one of the things, that you hear a lot of times, this is my crown, right? And it's not like the crown that I have in back of me, you can see it over there. This is our crown. So when I say mind the crown, it means mind yourself. Make sure your mind is stable. Make sure that you're good. Take care of yourself. So that's what minding the crown means, not a physical crown, but when you think about our hair and everything else being our crown, it's the whole person.
So you transitioned from your corporate job to this. How did your personal experiences with burnout in your profession actually shape the decision to do this full time?
One of the things I told you, I like to be superwoman at all times, right? That's my fatter girl. But what I was, and a lot of people, and I'm going to say a lot of women, but especially Black women, we tend to in corporate America not only do our job and do it well, but we're also doing the DEI initiatives, or we are the representation at everything that our company is doing. And after George Floyd was murdered, I realized I had fallen asleep at the helm, and I wasn't bringing anybody up. I wasn't doing anything. I was rising, but I wasn't bringing nobody else with me. And I was like, oh, this has to change. So then I started really fighting hard. I was the chairperson of the Black Employee Network. I did things with the Latino networks and other networks. I was trying to create programs for them. I was trying to educate on what Juneteenth meant by having, world-renowned speakers, but it felt like it was a fight all the time. And I was spending time crying because I was like, you're making these promises, but you're not coming through. And still trying to do my job and proving that I'm a Black woman and I still am the best choice for the job and that I do it well. And I'm trying to mentor along the way, because my goal before I left was to have someone excel even greater than I. That's what I really wanted to have. But also I wanted them to see the representation. If you gave me a chance, let's give others a chance, because a lot of people even better than who I am. But trying to do all that and always trying to prove yourself. And I was there, like you said, almost 30 years, that I was starting to get back after COVID. That was the best time of my life, not people passing, but I was able just to be working family balance. Got a new role that I didn't ask for, and the team I love, but didn't ask for them either. And, new leader and everything else. And I was working in the office until 12 o'clock at night, sleeping 3 hours a day, trying to do some mind the crown, limping along. I wasn't even doing it part-time. My goal was to leave in 4 years. And I was in a meeting on my day off, and I got up, I worked until midnight, got up at 5, finished up what I was doing. I was supposed to be speaking somewhere, but I was on pins and needles because the speaking engagement was running behind. I knew I had to get on this call. I get on the call on my day off. I done did all this work on my day off, and I'm just hearing, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And at that point, something internally said, you know what? I know I'm not ready financially, but I can't do this. I said, because if I continue doing this, I'm going to get ill. It's going to kill me. I just felt that internally, this is going to kill you. You can't do this anymore. So that loud voice said, get out. And I was like, when I said I quit, I was like, that wasn't me, right? Who said he quit? And I realized it was me that said it. But it was like an out-of-body experience. It was the best decision I could make. And I just want to say this part. This is how good God is, because my husband introduced me to this woman on TikTok, and she was an employment lawyer, right? And then I found this woman talking about the sabbatical and how she went to another country and did house sitting. So then she showed me, you can survive after this, along with her speakers. But then the other thing that was surprising to me, it was people that I had touched along the way in my corporate environment, and they helped me navigate leaving. And I needed that.
And that's good. Because you know what, I often find like these organizations, they put us in these awkward positions to fix things that they broke, right? DEI work, they pick on the African-American person, the person of color. Like, why are you re-traumatizing us or traumatizing us even more? And so kudos to you for having the audacity to walk away from that and realizing in the moment that you were actually drowning. Because like on your day off, Adrianna, what?
Never could take a day off. That was the problem. You never could take a day off. And you know, I took vacation time to grow my business, to do things. So I actually have things planned. But, being the martyr and being my generation, you always feel like you have to be so thankful that they took a chance on you. I more than delivered what they wanted me to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, sometimes you lay in your bed, you're like wondering, like, why can't I grow this thing that I own? Because I'm out here working on my day off. Girl, I feel you. So our foundation, the Cake Therapy Foundation, and shares really a profound commitment to really empowering girls and individuals, foster care, to ensure that girls who are impacted by the justice system can grow. And I see that there's some alignment where our focus is on like women and girls. So my question here, sorry, my bad. So your transition from a high-paying corporate job to running Mind the Crown full-time, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced during this transition?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. A lot of times, and I wasn't even chasing the corporate ladder anymore because I had made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to be a VP, didn't want to be a VP. I was going to electric slide out of the company in 4 years. But when you leave a job, that's all you know, and that's become your identity. It's that prestige of that six-figure income I was making. It was, oh yes, I was making some coins. Probably not, I wasn't making as much as the people above me, but I was okay. I felt good with what I had. But then I had prestige and power because everyone knew me. People in the field and people in corporate and everything else. So I did have a reputation and I was afforded opportunities. I was like at the town hall with the CEO of the company. I was in the training videos. I was everywhere. Anytime you needed, where's she at? Here she is, right? But I didn't realize my daughter suffers, and she's open about this, borderline personality disorder. And those who don't know, this is not something curable. This is the hardest mental illness you ever can have. And she has almost all the symptoms. And I had no clue that she's 28. I had no clue that it had gotten to that point, what my twin daughter that was living with her was dealing with. So I was at the point where, because when I told my mom I quit, she thought I was laid off. And she's like, oh no, you are right. Because I bled blue, right? Everybody knew how committed I was to this company. I even did recruiting. And I didn't know that she was at this point. She's been in the hospital 4 times this year. And so what ended up happening was that morning that I needed to do, and that excitement that now I can really focus full time on this business, because I had already had a plan as I was transitioning out. But my first 4 to 5 months was focused on her. Now she lives alone, trying to find a program for her, and then financially supporting her, because she can't get unemployment because she couldn't continue working because she can't look for a job right now because she needs to work on her mental health. So you got that, you got your little nest egg that you're trying to live off of, and you're down to like $2,000 to live off of, and you're supporting her too. So you're dealing with all of that, but you still didn't even mourn the loss, the sense of like, who am I now? Yeah, I'm but I still consider myself a startup. I'm not making those bucks like other women I'm surrounding around. My brand has not risen like theirs, but then I don't have that title of being the senior director for change management and project management, and being that person that was the chair of the Black Employee Network and all those other titles, like excellent at my job. So it was a lot. And now I'm finally getting a chance to focus on my business, not having to be there every day with my daughter being more independent on her own. And right now she's doing the work.
You articulate that so well, because even now as you're describing that, I'm feeling that, because like I said, I'm making that transition, girl. It's a tough move. Yes. So my whole body is like giving up on years of public health school, years of traveling as a public health principal, years of doing a PhD to just sit still and just focus on this work. So like my body's twitching. Do you see it?
I know. And sometimes we're never going to have enough money, right? I think about, when I was making $35,000, and I thought if I ever made as much as I was making, I would be on easy street. But every time you make more money, I was spending more money.
Yeah,
more
of
debt.
course.
And so you have to get to that point that you have to say, if I took my last breath today, is it worth it? Or can I live below my means? Because we're going to figure it out. We're going to be resourceful, but it's just not worth it. I've seen people that went to drive an Uber and a Lyft, downsized where they lived, but you know what they have? They're not bringing any work home. They got peace of mind, and they got this family. I missed out. I was there for the important events, but it was a lot of me being present that my kids missed out on, because my son is 38 and my daughters are 28.
Because, girl, you're working on your day off.
All the time. Working all the time.
Yeah, all the time. So can you elaborate a little bit more on how Mind the Crown supports women, particularly from Black and Brown communities, in prioritizing self-care and personal growth? Walk us through the types of workshops, coaching, and resource mind that you offer.
So I love this question. And, one of the things I used to say is having a softer life. And our Black and Brown women, we are in, and like I said, especially the ones that want to be in a heterosexual relationship, we give off masculine energy because we've had to be strong. We've had to take care of the house. We have other obligations a lot of times, kids, family members, or whatever, or we're giving to the whole family. A lot of people eating off of our check. So we don't get a chance to be vulnerable. And when we do, we don't want to be mistreated. And so we don't allow anybody in. And so when I started, I was like, okay, I need to meet women where they're at. And I really was focusing on Black and Brown women because that initially was who I was targeting. But I realized when it came to buying stuff and this, that, and the other, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to buy nothing. So I was like, I want to meet them where they're at. And so what I ended up doing is when I had that lunch party, so many people came up to me at that lunch party I had. And when I get a chance to speak at events, my husband says, people be in line to talk to you. He said, you should see what they're saying. And when I do vendor events, craft fairs, women are coming up and they're spending a lot of time talking to me, letting go of everything. So what Mind the Crown does is we had a workshop. And I don't know if I'll ever do another workshop because I don't like talking at you. I like it to be interactive. I like you to be in the moment. So what I do is I have self-care parties. And what the self-care parties are this. It's not like, party, get the DJ over here. It's not that. So what I end up doing is always an activity. So when I do the activity, it prevents you from being on your phone and everything else. It allows you to be in the moment. And so many women come by themselves. They're like, I don't even know how I found this. And I always make it affordable, $60. And what they end up doing is we did art therapy. It's blindfolded painting with the tempo of music, right? Do you know how relaxing that is? Yeah. Then we had a dreamboard, but we had a panel discussion with You Are Enough. And I had other Black women-owned businesses and I let them come free and they were able to sell their stuff if it tied to self-care. Self-care is even your hair, right? Yeah. And then my last event was called the Blossom Brunch. Yes. And basically what we did there is we took a terracotta pot, we painted it, but we planted a succulent, and just watching the women go in the dirt and getting the dirt and planting it, it was so therapeutic. And then they blinged it out. I had some special plant stones that they can put in there. But one of the things I always do is, what are you going to leave behind? So when they come in, I'm like, what you going to leave behind? Put it in the invisible jar. Because I'm leaving it behind. And at the end, we do a sister circle, right? Something positive about yourself. And we do that sister circle. But then the other thing I do is I have the event catered and I try to order extra. So if you have a child at home, a significant other, you can bring a plate home and then you don't have to cook. So self-care means a lot of different things. And it's about meeting that woman where she's at. Whether, she wants to buy a tumbler that reminds her of Mind the Crown. That's why I brand so much. Or if she needs to be in the moment and be present. But I want to get you where you're at so you can mind the crown.
Yes, absolutely. They can also mind the crown with some cake therapy. How about that?
I told you I do. I actually do use bakers for my events. I'm trying to balance. I would love to do more to keep it affordable. And so just still trying to work through that because some people can't even afford the $60, right? Even though I'll let them break it out, they can ask me to, give them payment plan. But a lot of times I gift tickets too, because I am not just saying self-care because it's a catchphrase. I actually feel it. I mean it, and I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, I feel it too. Because once you enter into this space where it's purposeful, right? You're fulfilling a purpose, something that was predestined and given to you like a gift from God. You feel every ounce of it because you're walking in that purpose and you want it to be successful. And as we're talking about like successful here, have you had any real success stories since starting Mind the Crown?
One of the things I just did a workshop for Led by Truth. They have the Bloom mentorship program. And one of the things I talked about is redefining what success looks like, personal and professional, because a lot of times we think it's money, it's career advancement, it's all those other things. So I'm redefining success. So yes, I've had success moments. Anytime I've had about 4 events now, and I just started doing them like last year, October of last year. And to be able to have these events and let other people come, other businesses partner or just be part of, that's a major accomplishment. Because, a lot of times we want to nestle so tight. We want to make all the money we possibly can. So yes, it decreases the money that I make, but I'm bringing more people to the table. I'm bringing more exposure to other people because you never know who might be in that room. So I feel that's a major accomplishment that I've had. I've had opportunities where I can see that people are reaching out to me more. How can I help you? I had no clue that people even knew what Mind the Crown is, and let alone want to see me grow. When I do these vendor events, I do 1 a week or 2. And one of the things that they say, you know what, last year, I bought that backpack. Or one lady said at the hair show, she said, every time my daughter is around you, you make her feel so special. She's a teenage girl. Because she was like, I bought a crown from you last year at the hair show. Her mother came back to my table and she bought all this stuff, the $100 worth of stuff. She said, because of the way you make my daughter feel. And the last milestone, I mentioned backpacks. And I have backpacks for little boys and little girls and teenagers. And most of the backpacks I designed myself, but it's when I introduced the Amazing Black Boy backpack. The thing about it is when little boys would get that backpack, even older boys, they would hug that backpack. They would hug it. And so to me, that's success. When you cause emotion in people, that's success, because that means that you are on the right path. This is what you're destined to do. So the commercial success, yes, I am making a couple of coins, not what I was making at the other place, but I'm thankful for that, but I'm thankful for touching other people.
Yes. Yeah, you hear that. Success comes in many different forms. It doesn't have to be in coin form. It has to be in partnership and community building. So
did you hear me say, but I wouldn't mind the coins?
But she would not mind the coins. She said that. We all want the coins. We like to hear it shake. It's music to our ears. So in 2025, Mind the Crown will be offering coaching services. What are your goals with that? With this new offering, and how do you envision it impacting the women you plan to serve?
One, it's going to save lives. It's going to actually save lives. And that's why, even though it was painful and I cried a lot, when that person, I don't know who she was, quit her job with no plan, that I realized there's other people in this position and they are holding on and they could survive. And some of them were more financially stable, but they couldn't let go because of the role So I want to help women that are 45 to, I want to say about 55, that are ready to leave corporate America. And what I'm going to do is I will have a wellness coach, meaning for physical wellness if they need that. I will have a financial advisor if that's what they need. But what I'm going to be providing them is the tools for the 5-year plan, that emotion that comes with that, to be able to say, you're going to be okay, right? We're going to work through what does your next thing look like. Not everybody, I'm blessed to have had Mind the Crown, and I appreciate that. But not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. They may want to leave and live in another country until they can retire fully. So it's success. They may want to drive a Lyft or Uber. So success looks different, but I want to get you through that emotional part so you could do the work to be ready. And then I'm going to also, like I mentioned, my other group is brown and Black women. I want to help them be softer, be more vulnerable. I still struggle with it. My husband will say that I used to do my yard work all the time. And my yard was one of the best yards in my neighborhood. And then, I prayed to have a husband that was going to be out there doing that work. So COVID hit, and then I was waiting for him to get it. And that yard was looking a hot mess. And then I just got frustrated, and I was like, I'm going to go out there and do it. But I was like, nah. And then finally I said, had a conversation with him. And I kept on saying, this is important. Can you get out there and do it? So when he planned to do it last week, what I ended up doing, oh, you don't have to do it. You could do it later. Or you're not doing it as quick as I needed you to do. So now I'm out there doing it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, allow me to be a man. It may not be on your time. It may not be how you would do it, but allow me to fulfill this role in this household. And I was like, because nobody wants to be in a relationship where they're not needed.
Yes, absolutely. And I too struggle with that, because I was successful in my own right before I met my husband. And then I'm from a single parent household. So my mother taught me how to get it done. So even when I'm sitting in this marriage for 10, 13 years, I still feel like, oh my God, I need to be doing all of this stuff by myself, when I really don't have to. And the guy is just begging, like, let me help you. And you're like, no, I can do it myself. So yeah, I have to try and be soft.
Hey, you know what? Because a lot of times we're complaining because we don't get a chance to be soft. We're complaining because we always feel like we have to do everything, right? Yeah. And then after a while, you're begrudging. You're, right? But then when you sit back, some things you don't have to do, or maybe it just won't be done. Yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to communicate what I need, and we sit there and suffer in silence. Or they can't even get their foot good. My husband was like, because I'm like, I'm big about fixing plates. And he was like, I'm like, okay, what do you need? You want hot sauce on your chicken? You want butter on your corn? What you want to drink? No. He's like, woo! Yeah, chill. You're doing too much. You don't need the salt and pepper in my food. Stop, right? And I don't have to do that. He didn't ask me to do that. But because I feel like I have to be this super woman, that I have to be all these things and the best wife possible, that I'm like this. So either he can't finish anything because I'm jumping and doing it, or I'm doing too much when I don't have to put that on myself.
Yeah. How do you step back?
Mind the Crown has helped me step back, because one of the things love bug, that's my husband, will say is, are you living a soft life? Are you living the soft life? Right? He said, I wonder what they would say about Mind the Crown, right? And then, so I have to live it. And I think my daughter, going through borderline personality, now her twin has been diagnosed with MS. So it's been a lot. But when I had to just say to myself, I want to live. I cannot support my daughter with her mental illness. I can't try to be there for my other daughter. And I can't do all the things I used to do for my husband. I'm one person, and try to get Mind the Crown off the ground. I can't do it all. So I communicated what I can and do what I couldn't do. And I had that conversation with my husband. I can't do all those things I used to do. And, and this one, because I didn't want to be divorced either, right? I'm like, you going to divorce me because I ain't going to be around as much? And he's like, nah, I'm here for the long haul. No, but the way I did it was, I can't do it anymore. I can't be everything to everybody anymore. And I realized that if I don't take care of myself, I'm going to give what's left of myself. And then I'm not going to be even here, or I'm going to be out of my mind. So physically and mentally, I couldn't do it anymore.
So what do you say to women, right, who struggle with accepting or getting to that space of realization that they can't do it anymore, and they're unable to prioritize their own self-care amidst their professional and their personal responsibilities? What do you say to that girl?
And I would say, do this exercise, that some things that we can delegate, and some things that we can't, and some things just don't get done. And so not everybody has the ability to hire a housekeeper to come to the house to clean the house, or maybe go on a vacation, or maybe have a break from the kids, whatever it is, right? Everybody can't do that. But one of the things you can do is take inventory. And I would say, get a sheet of paper. And on a sheet of paper, write the things from a personal, professional perspective at a high level that you have to do. Then when you do it, see if it's something that you need to keep, something you can give to somebody else, or something you got to leave alone, or maybe something you can automate or have a third party help you with. That my house is a hotmess.com, right? Not the main, well, even the main floor, because I got all these products here. But you know what? The kitchen is clean. I cook mostly every day, all that stuff. But the rest of the stuff, it ain't gonna get done because I can't do all of that in one day. So what I end up saying is, stop punishing yourself. Stop thinking that you have to do it all. And if you got kids, even as young as 5, they can do something. You got to communicate to your children, your significant others, and everything else. Because trust me, they see you and they can tell that you're not your best self because you're probably being short. You're probably being irritable, right? And they'd rather have the best of you instead of all of you, and you a hotmess.com. So those are some of the things, taking inventory, but also giving yourself permission to say, no, not right now. And you don't have to feel guilty. Let me get close. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing yourself. You don't have to. It's not selfish. Now, we do got some selfish people, but the people I'm talking to are the people that will do the world for everybody, but won't for themselves. It is not selfish to take a beat.
You don't have to feel guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty. So it brings me to ask you this. How can individuals like the community and organizations as a whole contribute to creating a more supportive environment for women's mental health? What's your take on that?
One, especially in the brown and black community, let's stop stigmatizing it. Because think about this. I was seeing a therapist before, but really not because it was through work. They gave it to you free. I had my first therapy session. Her name is Adrianna, and that's what I go by. And she's a Black woman. And I had my first session. And the reason why I did that was because I was tired of sharing with my husband, my best friend, because she's my strong friend. So you're dumping all that on them. So what I'm trying to do is normalize therapy. Therapy is a form of having someone talk to you, and they may actually have some tips, but they don't love you. So they're not going to be judging all these different people. So that's the first thing I would say. Have more events. And when you have events, have something that's something with their hands, whether it's cake decorating or whatever it might be, candle making, bejeweling a phone case, whatever it might be. Allow them to do something with their hands. So for that moment, it could take them away from their everyday life. Make it accessible. We get so caught up with these self-care events, even for young teenagers, that we price them out where they can't even afford to go. Sometimes you're not going to make as much coin as you want. Sometimes you're going to have to offer some stuff free. I can't offer everything free, but I try to give some things free. I don't have sponsorship. I just take the loss. So you got to make it accessible to people. That's another thing. But I think not making them feel guilty about therapy, listening, right? Everything doesn't have to be something big. Sometimes you can just have that one-on-one time. I'm going to tell you, when I have my events, and even at my table when I vendor, I hug people, right? And I don't even ask, right? Because you can see their spirit needs that hug. And sometimes that's the only hug they'll get all week. And so it's all these different things, listening, not making therapy feel bad, making self-care events or whatever accessible to everybody. And one of the things I'm going to do probably in November, have an event where it's virtual. Some people can't leave. Some people are at home. Some people don't feel comfortable being around other people. So I want to be able to have something that's tangible, that people can afford, that they can go to. So that's some of the things I would say. And then also, hey, you companies, how about sponsor? Sponsor. It could be buying a ticket. How about sponsor? It is so great to see you at all these large galas and events, but you get these small brands that are trying to give back to the community, that can't afford to give back to the community, but yet we don't get any support and sponsorship. And also, not just organizations, what about just you as an individual? You can donate $10 or $20. It don't have to be for you. Think about $10 or $20. You done spent that at what? Getting some coffee for 2 days. Yeah. So looking back on this journey of yours, what are you most proud of, and what keeps you motivated to continue to do it? I am proud that I have started setting boundaries. Am I all the way there? Mm-mm. But I'm an only child. And I'm a pleaser because as only children, that's how we got friends. So it was all this time that I would hold in all this hurt, and because I wanted people to like me so bad. And that's why that superwoman thing is so important to me. But I am saying I'm not fully there yet. But what I have determined that I am going to protect my peace at all costs, whether it's family members, friends, job, whatever, I'm protecting my peace. And I'll do that square, and I'm not fully there. I need to have more conversations with people. But at this time, I will put that square and I will say, I need to take a time out for you. And so that is extremely important because boundaries is something I never could keep. Never could keep a boundary. So I am so proud of myself. I'm not there all the way, but I'm getting there.
And as we're wrapping up this conversation, what are some of the things that you would like the listeners to take away from our conversation around the importance of self-care and community support in general?
The one thing I would like, especially, and I know that it's predominantly women that we're talking to, but I also want to first touch on men. And the thing that resonated with me, like I told you, I do a vendor event 1 or 2 a week. And I was packing up for the day. And it was a young man in his 20s. He was on the bike. And my husband said he was working at Super America down the street. And he was like, what do you sell? Because I was ready to go. And he was like, what you sell? I said, well, candles and blah. And he was like, men need self-care too.
Okay.
I was like, huh? And he said, I like candles. So then I took the candles out. Then I let him smell them. He's like, well, I don't got nowhere to carry them. So I showed him, I made this I Am a Black King backpack I designed. He said, oh, I like that. Wrapped it up. He put it in the backpack and he left. And so I think one of the things I would want to say is, yes, we as women need self-care, but so do men. Men need self-care. A lot of them have that armor on at all times that they don't get the chance to take off. And we need the ability to make space as well for them to be able to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Okay. That's the first thing. But what I would say as far as self-care, prioritize your self-care. Figure out what self-care means to you and prioritize it. I know coins are tight. Not everything involves spending money. It could be that you can go, they got free 99 events on Eventbrite. You can walk around the lake. You can walk around the neighborhood. If you have a cell phone, you can get some earbuds and you can listen to your favorite music and walk. You can take a bath. You can take your little iPad or phone, watch your favorite movie in the bathtub. You can have the candles going. And just now they got all these channels on YouTube. So it's so many different things you can do, but prioritize your self-care. You may say once a month, I'm going to do something. Once a quarter, I'm going to do something. But write down. Because if you write it down, you'll remember it and it makes it actionable. But prioritize your self-care. Community. One of the things that we have to realize that we are not successful if the other people are not successful. Stop leaning on your strong friends so much. Ask them if they are ready to receive what you have or that you can be there as a listener. A lot of times when we dump on people, we never ask them, are they ready to hear it? Are they ready to we don't know what they're dealing with. But they got to put it aside because all you know is your emotions. Take care of your strong friend. Reciprocate, right? Reciprocate in the care that they're giving you. That's important. That's where that community comes from. And let's support others. It may be people at work, your personal life, somebody, you go into the daycare, you see this mom is going through it. This father is going through it. It's nothing wrong with a nice word to get somebody through. Or even, hey, she didn't know or he didn't know, give this little gift, a little something, or a word of encouragement. So that's what community can be without having the financial impact. So those are some of the things I would definitely encourage us when I say community. Let's be a village.
Let's be a village. So in the spirit of being a village, can you share with our listeners how they can find Mind the Crown, how they can support your vision and even get involved?
Well, first I'm going to say, you can find Mind the Crown at every pop-up. That's where you can find me buy something. No, so where you can find Mind the Crown, I am on Instagram, Mind the Crown, LLC. I am on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube under Mind the Crown. And also my products, and I have luxury robes, I have tumblers, like you can see with the crown, Wooster journal, and candles, everything you can imagine. I have so many different products, because affirmation cards, even coloring books, right?
Yeah.
Adult coloring books to meet the woman where she is. So, and that is mindthecrown.com. But one of the things I want to say to you is that a lot of times when we deal with social media, we see the best versions of everybody. Life is golden. I can hear Jill Scott, living life like it's golden, in the background. And one of the things I'm trying to do consciously is not flossing my life. I was just on there talking about, I went to my first therapy, right? And so that is one of the things I'm going to do with my YouTube channel, is just be authentic and real. And even if nobody ever listens, it's a way for me to get it out of myself as well. But that's how you can support me. And I also do custom gifts. It could be, you may have a company or family members and you want to buy something special for them. I'll do payment plans. You can describe your family member, and it could be something unique and special about them. Because it doesn't have to be something I carry on my website, but I do custom gifts starting at $25. And then come to a self-care event. Like I told you, I'm going to start doing more quarterly events that are virtual as well. Come to an event. But most importantly, the way you can support me, whether you buy from me, whether you go to an event, follow me on social media, treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. That's what you can do for me.
Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Tell them about this journal you have. Can you pop it up in the camera and tell them where to find it?
I have so many journals, but I will show you this one. So this journal here is the Wooster journal. And you're like, what does Wooster mean? You'd be amazed how many people ask me that. Right. Oh, you know. So if you go, it centers you, right? It calms you down. And so the Wooster journal is, I always think about us as women, right? So the first thing I have is that it says who it belongs to. Because I feel like if you write in there who it belongs to, then it belongs to you. Maybe this is something you're cherished and actually use. But then the other thing I have in here is I have a weekly checklist. Now with the weekly checklist, it's undated, because you know why? Because life is life. And I don't want you to beat yourself up because you couldn't get to it. So that's why I have it undated, and it's nice and quick. And then every 8th page, I have a queen quote. But what I also have is this tab right here. And you're like, why she got this tab? Okay, because somebody could get on your last nerves and you need to woosa and write it down. And so this way, when you woosa and write it down, you can scribble, you can do bullet points. But what ends up happening is when you write in this, you go back to the front and see this too shall pass. But then in the back, I remind you about adopting a lifestyle where you don't have to be unwavering strong at all times. You can set boundaries and also explore the things that bring you joy. And I made it something that was beautiful, because if it's beautiful, maybe you'll use it, but because we're beautiful, we deserve nice things. And I only charge like $20 for this, but I have coloring books and everything else. So definitely check it out, because it's about us having mindfulness activities that will take us away from what we're dealing with.
Yep. Everyone deserves a Woosa journal. They deserve a Woosa moment. Woosa. Adrianna, trust me, this has been amazing. So thank you so much for joining me. It was wonderful hearing about your journey and sharing a little bit about cake therapy with you, and the amazing work that you continue to do for the community through Mind the Crown. Any last thoughts or reflections you'd like to leave with us before?
You know what? This is going to take you from out of the blue. I love Jamaica. Yes, I do love.
Okay.
Yes,
Jamaica.
Yes, I came ready for Jamaica today. I love it because they're cousins, but they are the most richest people, genuine people. And when you think of self-care, you think of Jamaicans, right?
Come on.
Like they ain't bustling. They be like, slow down. We got plenty of time. No, we don't. We got plenty of time, right? And so that richness, and when I heard that you were from Jamaica, I said, okay, that's why she got that great spirit, because she's from Jamaica.
I'm all Jamaican, girl. Everything. It's intercalated in my DNA. I breathe it. I spew it. I'm everything Jamaican.
That's self-care.
Yeah.
That's when I feel at home, is when I'm in Jamaica.
We're sisters, girl. Like, hello.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I need to come back. And it ain't for the men. I said I had a husband.
Thank you so much, Adrianna. You know what, listeners? I'm encouraging you to go find The Crown. Find her page. Learn about her work. I was in awe before, when I found her page and I reached out and I was like, I have to speak to her. I must. And upon connecting with her, it was something about her and it showed up today. I hope that you enjoyed this slice of joy and healing on the Cake Therapy Podcast. I'm encouraging you to go subscribe. Yes, if you're listening and not subscribing, what is it worth? I'm joking. But thank you for your listenership. Please go and subscribe though. Continue to support the Cake Therapy Foundation. Everything that you send to us go to the betterment of the girl. Buy us a coffee. Goes to the girl also. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Adrianna, for joining us as well.
Thank you for tuning in to the Cake Therapy Podcast. Your support means the world to us. Let us know what you thought about today's episode in the comment section. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you found the conversation helpful, please share it with a friend. Also, follow Sugar Spoon Desserts on all social media platforms. We invite you to support Cake Therapy and the work we do with our foundation by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description or by visiting the Cake Therapy website and making a donation. All your support will go towards the Cake Therapy Foundation and the work we are doing to help women and girls. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.